let's start our exciting discussion today. And it's an interesting topic, future of work. We've been talking about future of work for a while now. Today, we are, of course, concentrating on the engagement and well-being of our fluid workforce. So, in today's day and age, fluid employees are gaining immense popularity, and they're becoming the core of organizational workforce across the board. However, this means that organizations need to dramatically change their talent management strategies, build a culture where fluid workers integrate, and in overall, the employee engagement and well-being, and ensure that their employees are happy. So we have a wonderful panel today to guide you through these industry changes and prepare you for for what we are calling the fluid workforce. Let me introduce them first. We have Dr. Tina Singh, and she is the professor and registrar, head of international relations in New Delhi Institute of Management. Over 21 years of experience in the field of HR, academic, strategic management consultancy, both for the corporate world and academia. And her areas of expertise include human resource management, employee relations, and organizational behavior. Of course, she has been part of and organized many conferences, summits, panel discussions, and of course, on futuristic topics. Papers have been published both nationally and internationally, and she's responsible for establishing international linkages, leading new strategic initiatives. She's an external member of POSH, a committee of CDAC, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. She's a member of CII's HRIR committee. Welcome, Tina, to our panel today.
Thank you so much, Bindu. It's a
And
pleasure to be
on the other side, away from academia, we have Manisha Kohli, who's an entrepreneur. So she can, give us a completely different perspective on today's work, on the way we work today. She's not only an entrepreneur, she's a well-being expert of Own Your Way. Um, she's got a company with innovation design, working for global brands in North America, Europe, and Asia. She leads 20 employees who are dedicated to providing breakthrough innovations in the field of dispensing, product delivery, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and premium alcohol. My gosh, Manisha, that's a hell of a lot of stuff. She also
Thank
has a
you.
wellness business, Om Your Way, that's dedicated to changing lives. And her platform curates retreats, employee wellness programs, designs programs that are aimed at accelerating overall human performance. Also, a fashion designer, inventor with many patents, a yoga instructor, a wellness coach. My
Wow.
gosh, we could all use you. Meditation coach, and animal flow level zero 01. Her overall vision is to see each person become the best vision of ourselves. So, having said all that, let's start with the very basic. These new words that have come in courtesy the pandemic. We have the new normal, which, by the way, my whole team knows I hate. I mean, I don't understand it, but I'm not very fond of it. Now we've got this new one, fluid workforce. Tina, what do you think is a fluid workforce?
I think we are living by it these days. All the industries, the kind of work life we are having these days, and post pandemic, the workforce. I mean, I can reach out to anybody in any part of the world, and they are willing to extend their support. So, fluid workforce would be my young students who are placed in different part of the world. These are my colleagues working in different industries who are willing to spend times in multiple organizations and looking at various segments of the society, and all of us where we have blurred boundaries, where nationalities do not matter, where technology has enabled our lives to handle various work operations, various responsibilities, and handle the new expectations in terms of skills, competencies. That helps us to understand what a fluid workforce is, what all of us are living in these days. I mean, that's what I feel is fluid workforce.
Is the fluid workforce.
Yes.
So, Banisha, you work with a lot in wellness. Is this fluidity good for the workforce, or are there? I mean, at the moment, it sounds like everybody's on a pro. There must be some cons to working in this way.
Yes, of course, there are lots of cons. I mean, so in the pandemic, we discovered a lot of them. So the fun of them being, of course, communication and human interaction, right? So that being one of the biggest challenges of fluid workforce. Now, fluid workforce, I call it like a special task force, basically. So in which you can hire anybody and everybody that you want from anywhere in the world, and you can get things done instantly that maybe your team does not do, right? But now you've got somebody new, but how do you integrate them to your team? So that's one of the biggest challenges. Also, communication as a cultural difference comes in. So maybe you're not in the same time zone, or maybe you speak a little bit different. So when you have a written text, for example, they say WhatsApp, you never fight over WhatsApp, right? Or you never say anything or discuss anything important over WhatsApp because you don't know what the tone is, right? So usually we work on emails and we work on a lot of media which is textual. So textual basically means that you can interpret it according to your mood. So that's one of the biggest cons that I feel is about this fluid workforce. Also, since you don't know the person very well personally, you don't know what they're going through. And that's a big issue in this because we are all emotional beings. So we all react to what we are going through. And since you don't even know what they're going through, you don't know what their journey is, you tend to feel they're not either committed to the work, or they are just shying away from work, or they may be hiding and not putting in the hours. So I feel like communication being one of the biggest issues, and of course engagement being another second issue. So and the pros are many. So I'm good. So but the cons
Yeah,
are of
pros we
course there.
can. I know, but I now, because it's been so long, I'm beginning to miss the interaction, even the stopping of 10 minutes and having a cup of coffee or asking somebody how they are. It is, it's completely business oriented, because you go onto a Zoom meeting, you have a limited time frame, you pat finish it, and you go. So, Tina, if I can ask you, haven't companies had to adapt to a lot of this? The talent that they acquire, I mean, what are they looking for? I mean, what are they looking for? Are they looking for adaptability? Are they looking for skill? Are they looking for just pure knowledge? What are they looking for now?
So now the companies are looking for a holistic individual. It's not skills anymore. Not only the technical skills.
Not
That's
skills
just the
alone.
basic. No, not alone. So skills are just the base thing that would help you crack your aptitude level. That's it. Rest, it's all about relationship management. Your cognitive skills. How do you manage the relationships? How well do you collaborate? And how well do you understand business? Are you a problem solver? And are you an emotionally strong and a positive person? Are you willing to contribute towards the growth of the team, yourself, and the organization? And are you an individual who believes in mutual respect? These are some of the recent trends that we have analyzed from the recruitment perspective. And technical skills, yes, they would always be there. I mean, if it is Python today, tomorrow it would be some new technology. If it's Industry 4.0, AR, VR, AI, ML, but future would bring something else. But at the end of the day, it is the people who use that, who learn that, who adapt that, and somebody who can understand people, who can work with people, is what companies are looking for. And especially when we are willing to respect the differences, because all organizations are moving towards technology. And when it comes to technology integration and being part of a platform, you also need to respect the individual differences and also their personal expectations and requirements. And youngsters these days are not willing to work for organizations who do not have that kind of a balance. I am my own person, right? I mean, you might be having me for 8 hours, 9 hours, but I also have a life. And if organizations don't respect that, youngsters are not willing to join those companies. So that's the future. Those are the things that companies are also looking for and
Challenge.
understanding.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
challenge for them as
It is.
well.
It is. It is.
Uh,
And that's why the
Manisha, you work with.
engagement activities are changing. Yeah.
Yes. And that's my next question to Manisha, because she does engagement work as well.
Yes.
So, what can companies do? to engage? I mean, other than the work, I mean, productivity, you can measure this, that. Have you done, made so many calls? Have you made this? Have you done all that? But what are companies now? They have to be very creative in the engagement process. As Tina said, they are even the candidates have their own requirements. Forget the companies having requirements. So, what is it that the companies are now coming forward to you and asking you for suggestions? So, what are some of the suggestions that you would have for them to
Sure.
engage with people?
Right. So basically, we all understand that an individual is basically of four different things. It's the mindset, it's your health set, it's your soul set, and it's your social set. Right. So that basically
Right?
means physically, mentally, socially, that's your environment, and spiritually, what are you? So, like Tina spoke about, the soft skills are being more important. So, if there are people with the same kind of technical skills, I would probably go with the better soft skills and I'll hire that person. So, now the companies are basically looking for that. And when they come to me, they want all four categories to be addressed, because anybody who goes through the holistic approach of being a better human does give out better results. So we kind of forget one over the other. So there are different kind of programs that they ask for, which could be just productivity, but it's not like I'm making you brainstorm more or I'm going to make you do more emails, but it's going to be, how do you focus on work? How can you override the environment? Because you still have your work around you, you still have different distractions
Mm,
happening to you. We are in the world of distractions, right? Social media is all over the place. So everybody just scrolling through mindlessly over the reels and everything. So, I mean, it's part of life. So, how do you build that distraction something to the advantage of the company? And also engagement in terms of how can you make people communicate more. So what kind of softwares are you using to communicate? Zoom fatigue is a big deal which is happening right now. A lot of people just shy away from Zoom. They just don't want to get onto it. They would rather just have a call. So that's why we have like voice calls getting over the whole video calls now. So it's very strange, but that's how human psyche is. Too much of something just gets over you. So the
mm,
programs that we've been designing have been all about physicality. How do you improve your overall body? Because you want to be able to sit and work. Because eventually, a lot of people have backache. They can't sit for long.
yes,
Their
true.
shoulders have slumped down, and that's all. They blame it on the
Sit
pandemic.
straight.
Yes, so they blame it on the pandemic, but eventually, it's basically there is no physical activity, or you haven't just indulged in it for a very long time. You don't have that discipline. So, small steps on how to improve a person in all four elements. So, your productivity will already go up. And that's exactly what I do in my company as well. So, all through the lockdown, we had very low clients, and everybody was hit badly in the first lockdown. We just made sure everybody did something. It was like probably in the morning calls that we have, we made them do jumping jacks for 5 minutes, or we made them like do silence and reflection. So silence basically to understand, before you writing that email, you're really upset and you want to shoot that email now, you ask them to stop for 5 seconds, count 10, and then shoot that email. And possibly you will not shoot that email 99% times. So yeah, so that's what we work with, and that's one of the things which has been a biggest thing for all the corporates. It doesn't matter which industry, it's all industries. So
It's all
everybody
in this.
wants like better holistic humans to work for them, because soft skills are more important than the hard skills.
Than hard skills right now, because as both of you have said, technical skills are there. I mean, things that I've been doing this for 20 years now, over 20 years, and so what I know, but it's a question of adapting to it. But the other thing that you get when you work for an organization, you go to the office, is the culture, is the work culture in an organization. Some are down upwards, some are up downwards. uh, some are more ethical, some are not, that kind of thing. But if you're all working remotely, how does a company uh, inculcate the work culture of that particular organization by so many people working remotely? I mean, we are a company of over 500. So how do the new ones that have come in, how do they learn that we are a fun organization, or we are a tough organization, or we are a boring organization. How does one do that? Tina,
Yeah.
is that a challenge?
Initially there was, but now, like I said, everyone has adapted, and that's what is the beauty of being a human being. That any challenge you're faced with, we all come up with a hack and adapt to something new.
I
Similarly,
love the word hack.
yes. Similarly, the companies have done that, and we have a whole new batch which is online. Similarly, companies have batches which have joined them in the pandemic, and they haven't seen the physical infrastructure, but they have tried to engage those employees through their onboarding process. It is about what stories you tell. It is about whom do you connect them with. Who's their buddy? Who's mentoring them? What standards have you set? What policies are communicated? I mean, Manisha rightly said it is communication is at the heart of things. So, how well are we communicating? It's not all aspects of communication in terms of the story, what brand story are we communicating, what work expectations are we communicating, what are my policies saying, and am I really walking the talk as a leader? If I'm talking about an organization which is an inclusive organization, are my hiring practices like that? Have I is my talent pool in that manner? Do I
As
respect?
diverse.
Yes. Do I respect that kind of religious diversity, or gender diversity, or even age for that matter? Is my team configuration having millennials, even Gen Z, or even the baby boomers still? So, and how do I engage all of them together? So that's something that organizations are doing, and they have online platforms. And now that we are getting back to workplace, the positive thing about pandemic is that many of those workers who you were not positively engaged in terms of being a freelance workforce, even the government of India has recognized the power of gig economy, and they've
Yes,
added that into the social security code, which is a big thing for a country. Nobody gave them that kind of validation that even being a freelancer or a gig worker is important. And future is about them. If I have a skill and multiple organizations are willing to pay up and take me, why not? Why not leverage that? So, like I said, engaging now, you can engage both remote as well as on site workers. And there can be virtual platforms, there can be hybrid platforms that are there. Similarly, it can be offline, online, everything is possible. We have been able to come out of it,
come
and
out of it.
yes,
Okay.
and many of us have actually learned to balance the hybrid power. We used to waste a lot of time traveling, that we save. We are able
Yes.
to, yes, we are able to do a lot of things for ourselves as well. That's what many of my friends who are working in the industry, and they're able to say that, I mean, that is a blessing even now. I mean, we're not talking about the medical aspects, but in terms of the social life, in terms of most of initially people said that there's Zoom fatigue or 24 by 7 working, there's no work life balance. Now, even companies have realized that everybody was learning. So everybody was
Yes.
experimenting. There was no best fit. So we
No,
all
no, no.
developed our own. Yes.
True.
Yeah. So
True.
that's how
So
companies are managing.
if I pick up from there, Manisha, where we are saying that, in fact, that is fluid work. Gig workers, according to me, are the fluid workforce. But we are now using even you and me as fluid. But what happens if I have, in 2 years, I've got used to working from home? I've got my work life balance. I manage, I don't have to travel. Now I don't want to go back. How are companies putting up with that? Is there a way out?
So I think that's almost like 86%, according to a lot of studies, of employees
Ouch.
who don't want to go
Ouch.
back to work. But out of which about 67% do feel that they can go 2 days to work for engagement, right? So the companies just will have to be a little bit open minded, because definitely I think, like how Tina said, it saves so much time and rage on the road, because a lot of people travel from a lot far of places, take about 45 minutes to 1 hour. They're already upset by the time they come to work. So the morning they wake up, they're like, "Oh shit, I have to go to the road," right? So basically, yeah, yeah, that I said it. So yeah, so then that's over. But eventually, they do want to engage with their colleagues because they're used to it. And in fact, I've been speaking to a lot of people who are working from home. The most thing that they miss is the chai time together, like you said. So it's
Yes.
the coffee and the teas together. So also a lot of people feel like in higher management that they get excluded from major decisions because they don't know if there are three people in the management, higher management, like two people are working together. So you don't really interact with a third one who is possibly busy during that time zone. So they feel left out. But that's human nature. So that's why companies will have to make sure that the engagement happens inside, which is going to be you call your people once in a while to come over and interact with everybody, make it interesting for them, but still work from home has to be an option because a lot of people are so secure in it. I know young mothers are very happy with it because they can take care of the kids. They know the kids are going to grow up better, and that gives them a peace of mind. That's what you really want for your employees in the end. So
Mm,
definitely, it'll have to be a hybrid system for a long time. Even for us, if I give an example, a lot of our employees did not want to come back to work. So before the second wave, you said, "How do you feel about it?" There was a lot of resistance because people were happy because they didn't have to travel, they didn't have to go through the traffic, and they were being productive at home because they figured it out, as they say. So,
mm,
but still, once in a while, we do call people in. So it's again a hybrid. The office is open in case you want to come in and work together. Because in an innovation or a design firm which requires you to sit down, brainstorm together, you can't really do it online. So we tell people that it's open for them to come in and encourage them to at least come once a week so that that engagement, the face-to-face engagement still happens. And in case you're not in town and you're away from it, then there has to be touch points which are face-to-face with your employees who are not in the same vicinity.
city.
So definitely you need to have like some kind of a platform which kind of gives enables them to be online with the others and collaborate. Something we use something called Slack, but so that's a very collaborative kind of software which allows you to have a trail. You can build up teams, you can do scheduling. So you need to do that and also be mindful what they're going through. So that's something that you'll have to just work with. I mean, it's something which even Google is working with or Dropbox is working with.
Everybody,
Yeah, so everybody's going
everybody is
virtual.
working with, yeah, everybody's working. Because, I live in Bangalore. So when you talk about commuting, the Bangalore traffic, everything you've heard about it is not only there, but worse. So believe it. And yes, a lot of our relationship managers don't really want to come back to work. But we are, and while we are a platform brand, everything is online. That little bit of engagement still, with clients needs to be there. But we're also having to go into the hybrid mode. So as long as they've met us once, then you can do an e-meet or Google Meet or whatever, or a Zoom meet, and get on with it, because the rest of it is applications and that. We understand that. But for large companies with huge infrastructure, to have them lying empty is actually a criminal waste. So from what I'm understanding, is that the hybrid model is here to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be able to get all your staff back and say, come back or else.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. Is that what you feel,
So,
Tina?
so there are a lot of industry examples here where they've actually had a rethink on their business model and their HR model. You talk about Deloitte, you talk about PwC, you talk about some
Big
of
ones.
the IT big companies. They've all had a rethink, and they realize that they're saving a lot if they have a
To
hybrid kind
shift.
of setup. Yeah, and they are really rethinking on their real estate investments, and it makes a lot of sense. A, it saves on the talent, not slipping away. once
Yeah.
we come back to 100% physical requirement, because there are a lot of people, like you said, have gotten used to the new way of working, being at home. But it also saves them time of commute. It helps them, the productivity has actually improved for many of the
True.
organizations. And
True. True.
like I said, all organizations who believe in investing in people, they feel that real estate is just one of the physical aspects of the workplace. Wherever people are, your organization can be anywhere. So they have also adapted, and they are rethinking on their workplace infrastructure strategy, and they are having a model where remote plus physical plus like flexi working, all those aspects which wasn't thought of, are being part of our HR strategy. Like for us in education, none of the faculty could fathom that they would be on technology. It was so difficult to get them
Difficult.
on,
I agree.
to adapt to technology. But I have faculty who are 60 plus age group, and they're all using a lot of new technology which many of the youngsters are using. So they're not handicapped anymore. So when that kind of hybrid adaptation has happened, so companies are realizing that, and they don't mind rethinking. Not only in India, but it's happening across the world. So that flexible working is here to stay.
Is here to stay. We have a very interesting question from one of our students. He says, one random thought. Given the trend of being self employed, one's own boss, what if a situation comes where people only want to do a startup and not work under someone else? There is actually a shortage of human resources. Only employers, no employees. Can it even lead to this situation, or will it balance out somewhere? Manisha?
Okay, so when you say there are lots of startups, they're also self-employed people. So a
Yeah.
startup does not typically mean more than one employee as well. So when you're your own boss, it means you decide where you want to live and who you want to work with. It doesn't really mean that you don't want to work with anyone. So it's also like something like a Fiverr platform. So each one over there is a boss, but they work for different people. So you don't work for one person, you work for multiple people. So being your own boss really would actually give you more flexibility to take projects that you enjoy. And startups can actually enjoy that because they can get a lot more people to work for them. And they don't even have to have them on the payroll.
So
So,
he will be the boss and he will
and
still have
and
employees.
still be working with the boss.
But the situation will never be
Yeah.
that there will be only employers and no employees. If you are the employer, you will have some employees.
Yeah, so it's
Very well.
also like a client and your company relationship, right? You have a client, you work for them. You're not an
Yeah,
employee, but you still work for them. It's the same
true.
thing.
True, true. So, the other thing is, we're still talking about a fluid workforce. And for me, a fluid workforce is also the new lot. For example, because I live in Bangalore and we are the IT, capital, a lot of the youngsters, once they started working from home, they moved back to various hometowns because they didn't want to be paying rent and working from home. For them to come back is not going to be the easiest thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But when we're talking about a young, group of individuals, they are looking at what is their vocation in life, what moves them, what stirs them. So if it is about the career, anybody would move anywhere in any part of the world. But if it is about, where which stage of life am I at, that would be the deciding factor for me. That's what even the
Correct.
youngsters, they're willing to travel. I mean, you look at the visa story of students going to US and Canada. Why do you think there's such a rush
Don't
to
talk to me
now?
about visas right now.
So
I
you can
am
imagine.
inundated. I've been inundated.
So
I'm really
no
inundated.
matter how comfortable they got by being at home, everybody is willing to travel now. 18, 19 months of pandemic has made us rethink our life goals.
Goals. Yeah.
Yes, our life goals. But at the end of the day, we all strive to be someone, to be somewhere. So where is that somewhere? Who I want to be is going to be my motivation. And I don't think companies would face challenge that ways.
No.
No, I
So,
doubt it.
Manisha, companies are open to change as well. They're open to adaptation much, much more than when the pandemic first started. Would you agree with that
Defi-
statement?
Definitely. I mean, they had to change, right? So, because companies, what do they want? I think companies all want innovation in the end, right? So, what are we looking for? We're looking for that next big thing to happen and take us to the next level. It could be something like a breakthrough TikTok software, for example. So, that was the biggest breakthrough innovation in itself. People love it and everybody's on board with it. Now, this cannot happen if you keep working in the same way. You need to break the norm, be uncomfortable, and then have the chaos built into something beautiful. So that's how exactly all the companies need to work. They have to change. They have to also think about who they're hiring. So you don't really have to go mainstream. You don't really need people with big degrees. What you need is people who can think, who are curious, who actually ask a lot of questions. Can be those annoying people who ask a lot of questions. They're the best people. And be really creative in their thinking. So, and I think companies do appreciate that. And I'm coming from the fact that we are kind of that company for a lot of other companies. So, we are that special task force that I talk about. A lot of companies have their own innovation teams and they still give projects to us because they want to break through the clutter that they already have in
Fair.
house, right?
Fair.
So, I think companies can actually really make money on this particular platform, or right now it's the right time to really go ahead and do crazy stuff.
So, coming to the end of our little session, uh, if I sum it up and say our fluid task force or fluid workforce is here to stay, sentence number one. If they're adaptable and they are focused, the chances are that they will be successful. And the other one that Dina mentioned is not only companies want certain skill sets, uh, candidates themselves want companies who are in their corner, who are being they're engaged by those companies and their well-being is being looked after, and they have a rather large choice at the moment, and they can be as fussy as everybody else. Just before you came in, Manisha, I was talking to Tina about the other sessions that we'd had, and the one thing I took away from that was that our youngsters are not risk averse. They are quite willing to take risks that I too definitely, I fall, by the way, into that upper 60s club bracket. I would never ever take, uh, ever, because we were another generation who safety was first inherent. But so I suppose my hateful word of new normal is our present day fluid workforce. Anything, Manisha, as a last thing that you would like to say to our students, what they're looking
Yeah,
for?
definitely. So, what I would like to say is that you need to orient your what and the company's what together. So, don't just go for the first job you get. Understand what the company is doing. Do you align with their purpose? Do you align? Does your life work with that purpose? And then go ahead and give it a chance. So it's not about the money in the end. It has to be about your soul food, like what you say, like you feel great about it when you wake up in the morning. You should actually feel good about going to work. Not like thinking, oh, it's another day of work. I'm looking forward to a weekend. So that doesn't really work long term. And also, like, go and explore, make your life a little bit chaotic. Millennials were built on that, and that's why there is so much change in the world. So go ahead and take a lot of chances, and life is all about chances. You don't want to be sitting after 10 years thinking, I might have done that differently.
Hmm.
So you want to
Don't
do
be
it
sorry.
now. Yeah, exactly. So don't be sorry about it. Regret is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. So go ahead, take all the chances you can, but always align your what and the company's what. If you love sustainability, you feel strongly about it, go find a company that talks about sustainability, does something in that. If you think media is something that works for you, go ahead with that. You don't have to stick with what you studied. That's number one.
That is absolutely true. An undergraduate degree is only a base degree.
Yeah.
There's
That's true.
lots of changes in your life ahead. Tina,
So
any last
I
thoughts?
would just like to say, since I deal with adult learners, so what learning we've had is that it is not only about your base education, but what bouquet you have to offer. So focus on building your personality, take additional certifications, because everybody would have a BTech or an MBA.
Mm,
But
mm,
what
true.
extra? What is that seasoning that you're getting into the organization? So get new certifications, have a mentor, but at the end of the day, make sure that you research. Like Manisha said, that find your calling, but that calling comes from doing the right kind of research. It's not what my friend is doing. It's
Oh
not what I
gosh.
wish to do, what I love to do, where I see myself, enjoying myself in future. That's something what is going to help all of you. Focus on. I really love the question that shows the creative streak, and that
Yes,
would really help our country. If we had all entrepreneurs here,
all
problem
entrepreneurs.
of
Yes.
unemployment rate going up would be solved. I wish that were to happen.
Yeah,
And
I wish so too. I
yes,
wish so
so
too.
balance your life, your physical, emotional, your intellectual, all those
Spiritual,
yes,
Manisha
spiritual,
mentioned. Yes,
all those aspects have to be in balance. And
in sync. Yeah.
yes, that has to be the focus.
Well, I just
Yeah.
have to say a big, big, big thank you. And I wish I had mentors like you when I was a little younger. And, you know,
You don't have to be a little
You don't
younger.
have
I
to
think
be
you're doing
yes.
perfectly fine. You don't even look that old. Like,
Yes,
honestly, you don't look
oh,
your
please.
age.
yes. So that's
Thank
the
you.
new
That makes
normal,
me very
Bindu.
happy. That makes
Every
me very
age diversity, the kind of experience you have, people, organizations would, love to leverage that.
So,
oh,
Bindu, I want to tell you
Yes,
this, okay? So, this is amazing because a lot of people say they're above 60, they can't do anything now, right? But what's amazing is people above 60 are getting paid much more to
yes,
come as experts. So, that's the biggest trend right now in a lot of industries in which
yeah,
they're calling in people who have retired to come back and become the counselors, right? So, you can
yes,
become the
and
mentor
mentors. Yeah,
basically.
yes,
absolutely.
And also,
Mentoring is
if you look
possible.
at all the ads, it's interesting to notice that all the ads from all the designers are featuring older baby boomer generation because it's coming back. It's all cyclic, and I think it's you're not really old till you think that you're old.
yes.
That is true. That is absolutely true. And of course, we are talking about our youngsters who are on the threshold of huge change because today they're all here to look at, talk to universities. So, they're there. They're going to make, and for them, it's a huge, huge, huge change in life. But it's a question of embracing change and not looking at it as an opportunity instead of a liability.
It's
And
high time we do that, no? Nobody likes, cribbing individuals. At the end of the day, you have to cry and stop crying. Move on.
it's been wonderful, Tina. Wonderful,
Wonderful.
Manisha. Thank you so,
Thank you so
so,
much.
so much for being part of our, GI journey. All I can say is thank you. It's been an enlightening conversation. So I hope the others also enjoyed it. Well, we had, as you saw, that one question made you think that our youngsters think
Yeah.
they're absolutely
Yeah.
great. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Coming
much.
to you in
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Burma.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. Thank you.